The beautiful lakes in and around the Ozark region provide the backdrop for our monster truck action, where today, amidst this tranquil setting in Springfield, Missouri, a backyard brawl is brewing. Coming up next, we'll see who shows the way in the Show Me State. This is Trucks and Tractor Power, featuring the all-stars of the PENDA Monster Truck Thunder Drag Series. Today, it's the PENDA Monster Truck Thunder Drags from the Ozark Empire Fairgrounds in Springfield, Missouri. Earlier today, our staff had a chance to visit the beautiful countryside here in the southwestern quadrant of the Show Me State to give you these beautiful pictures. It's a rare treat indeed for us to go out and have a chance to see the countryside around the racetrack, because usually the crew is right here in the remote truck getting ready to show you the very best in monster truck racing, side-by-side mud racing, and of course tractor pulling. Hi everybody, I'm Gary Lee and welcome to Trucks and Tractor Power. Now, the crew is not the only group of individuals that enjoy night racing. The drivers love it as well. It's cooler at night, more humidity, and of course that combination produces more horsepower. The drivers also like this racing facility, as they have some very nice things to say about this racetrack. And here with more on that is my colleague, Army Armstrong.
Gary, even though the tracks all look the same as we go around the country, the drivers tell me that you do have to learn little idiosyncrasies about each track you run on. So we asked the guys in the pit area, tell me about what's unique on this track. This is what they say. It's a roll and throw track. You got to roll the three-car jump on the starting line, and then when you roll that one, you can put your horsepower down in the area I'm standing in now called no man's land. But when you get to the other end, that's the throw part. You literally got to roll and throw if you're going to win in Springfield, Missouri. Back to you, Gary.
And Army, a good example of that technique took place in qualifying by none other than Andy Brass. Laid down the quickest run in Wildfoot.
Yeah, if you'll notice now, you hear him back out of the throttle after that first roll part, and then when he throws it, he goes into the throttle.
Well, that roll and throw can also throw you a curve, as Andy's teammate Dan Runty shows us in qualifying. Dan, who is still subbing for Gene Patterson, was the second quick qualifier on the day. Now, notice right here that pop as he backfires the Ford Bigfoot.
That could indicate some type of a major timing problem. We'll have to keep our eye on that situation.
Well, this is a view from one of our in-car cameras today. It's inside the cab of Fred Schaefer's Barefoot truck as we get a bird's-eye view of the roll and throw. And coming up, another great view from a camera that we like to call the Crush Cam. This is from Dan Runte's first pass in qualifying, and that's exactly why it's called the Crush Cam.
Now, Don Van Loo comes out in the Magnum Force Dodge in the near lane, and he also takes a shot during qualifying. These drivers are getting a roll and throw down, but they're still hitting a ton on the end of the track, Gary.
Well, Army, later on in round one, Don would meet up against Wayne Smozanik and Tropical Thunder, and Don and the big Dodge would continue the winning ways that he has developed of late. Boy, he is on a roll.
He has found the combination he's been looking so hard for about a year and a half, Gary.
Also in round one, Ken Deppy in the Dodge Express taking on Brian Welsh in moving violation, and Deppy in another of those potent Dodge pickups. And he takes that victory. Also advancing from round one would be Colt Cobra and Snakebite. Colt would take out Ron Nelson, who's driving for Scott Stevens in the Auto Value King Crush Chevrolet.
But the untold story in this round, as we get ready to go into round two, is that every winner in round one came out of the far lane. That will not happen again, Gary. Somebody's got to go in the other lane.
Yeah, we'll see if we can break the curse of the near lane as we come back to the Show Me State for more on Trucks and Tractor Power. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Ozark Empire Fairgrounds in Springfield, Missouri for the PENDA Monster Truck Thunder Drags. Gary Lee alongside Army Armstrong, who's standing by trackside with a preview of round two.
Gary, we just noticed something interesting as we're getting ready to go into the next round of competition. It's a little 3-on-3, and believe me, Detroit Mission is going to be watching this one, because the old saying, you win on Sunday, you sell on Monday. Well, that's where we are right now. But the 3-on-3 I was talking about, if you look over my left shoulder, 3 Ford trucks. You look over my right shoulder, 3 Dodge trucks. This is what's going down in the second round. Them guys are going against them guys. Back to you, Gary.
Okay, Chevrolet, are you watching as we take a look at the pairings here? Wildfoot against Magnum Force, Dodge Express and Barefoot, and Snakebite will take on Bigfoot. 3 Dodges and 3 Fords. So this should be a very interesting shootout here in Springfield, Missouri. Well, Don Van Loo pulls up and Magnum Force representing the Dodge camp. And he'll go up against the Ford camp's Wildfoot with Andy Brass.
Gary, this is the reason that qualifying is so important, because you always go back to your previous round, whether it be a round of elimination or a round in qualifying for lane choice. If you're quicker than me, you get lane choice. Andy the man Brass is quicker than the Dodge, so where is he going? Far lane.
Well, we'll go back to round 1 now as he took out Mark Hall in the Executioner.
Look what lane he's in.
Now he's in that far lane.
Andy's building a nest over there, and I don't blame him a bit.
And look at the suspension travel on that Wildfoot Ford. What a work of art as we take a look at Don Van Loo out of Jefferson City, Missouri. Not really that far from St. Louis, where Andy's from.
Oh, and this is the community that has so many monster truck drivers there. I think there are like 9 trucks based out of Jeff City, but right now he's got his heart, mind, and everything full of a big Ford called Wildfoot. He knows he's got a handicap lane.
Well, with the handicap lane, he takes the truck over the crush cam, and Andy Brass takes the victory in the Ford. So the Ford advances, and we'll have to wait and see if by chance Don Van Loo would be the fast loser, that he also could advance.
Well, as the replay comes up on the screen, I want you to notice the headlight, or the light in the middle of the driver's compartment. That's the indication we've talked about before in other shows of the electronic kill switch that's operated away from the monster truck. It's a safety feature, and that light in there with the driver is an indication of which channel, in this case the yellow channel, that particular truck is running on with this kill box.
Well, as Andy Brass pulls back to the paddock area, we'll take a look at Fred Schaefer coming up in barefoot, and here's what it looks like from inside the cab. We have mounted that camera right alongside Fred Schaefer, the ex-drag racer. And this is going to be Dodge against Dodge, because he'll pull alongside Ken Deppy in the Dodge Express.
Now, this is going to be an interesting run because, well, let me give you, they both are Dodge Dakotas, okay? They're both red, but the truck you're looking at now, the engine is a little bit higher and forward. The Deppy's engine is to the front of the driver. Look at the engine right now below the barefoot truck. Fred Schaefer's engine is down and low as possible and to the rear. Deppy's engine is low, but to the front. Again, it gets to be a 10,000-pound balancing act.
We go back now to round 1 action, and Paul Schaefer is in the monster patrol again in the near lane, but it's the far lane that takes the victory.
Yeah, Fred Schaefer getting that Dodge truck balanced out. That's what bumped him over into this round. But believe me, just because they're both Dodgers and they're both red, neither one's going to give up to the other guy. This Ken Deppy kid is going to be a player. And again, look where he's from.
Very articulate. I'd like to hear you do the interview with Ken Deppy. I'd like to hear what he has to say. So here is a shootout between Dodge Dakotas, the Dodge Express, and barefoot.
Now remember, there's a possibility you could lose and win here. The way you do that is you're the quick loser in this round, and Deppy knows it. So he's running the other truck, but he's also running the clock.
Oh, who's it going to be? It looks like maybe Fred Schaefer by, a foot maybe.
Woo, that was some good racing, Gary.
Oh, that margin of victory was minuscule, as it would appear that barefoot did indeed win. But hey, I tell you what, this Deppy kid could come back as the fast loser. That was a quick run.
You're exactly right. I'll guarantee you he was just trying to drive his race, his lane, going against the clock.
Well, we take a look again. Watch for the margin of victory, how very small it is.
Also, keep in mind, where has every win tonight come from? Far lane. Getting closer, though, isn't it, Gary?
Yeah, there's the margin of victory right there as we stop it. Now you're going to take a ride with the winner of this round, Fred Schaefer, into no man's land. It settles down over the second set of cars, a rough landing. And let's have some comments from Fred.
I'll tell you what, Gary, if you thought either of these guys were going to roll over, that wasn't the case at all. Hey, you're both smiling. That was one race.
Well, thank you, Army. You know, we want to go as fast as we could because obviously if one of us loses, we want to try and make fast losers. So I think we both give it all we had.
It's kind of strange how you got 3 Dodges and 3 Fords. Now, the Bigfoot crew, they're going to have to try to wipe somebody out. So really, this race could actually be the quickest loser of this race still gets to stay alive. It's important, isn't it?
Exactly right, Army. You got it right on the nose.
You learn anything from this guy?
He's taught me a whole lot. He hired me to drive as fast as I can, and I'm not going to try not to let him down.
He's earning his pay.
Yes, he is. Thank you.
Well, a pair of Dodges go out at that time. Now we have a pair of Fords. There's a look at Snakebite with Colt Cobra out of Cobra Creek, Colorado. And he pulls alongside the Bigfoot Ford of Dan Runte. And again, Dan subbing for Gene Patterson, who's taking a couple of weeks off after heat exhaustion.
You talk about sitting in a hot seat. Gene Patterson comes over to take over for Andy Branson, a truck they knew was a world champion caliber, and Runty has to come in and take his place, and this kid is doing a yeoman's job. This kid's a good little driver.
We go back to round one. John Moore in the near lane, and no problem, but he had a problem right here by virtue of the lane, really.
Well, earlier the drivers were saying how nice the facility was. Right now, if you got to run that right lane, it's about as much fun as kissing your sister. Nobody wants to do that.
And there's a look at the snake bite, Colt Cobra. And he pulls alongside the Bigfoot Ford, Dan Runty. So it's Ford against Ford here in round two.
Notice the yellow light on the right and the orange light on the left. That's a kill equipment we were talking about.
Remember, the fast loser will come back. Oh, look at that. Snake bite got him.
Yeah. Hey, how about
Snake bite
that?
got him.
So the streak continues. Every win so far tonight, every win has come out of the same lane.
And it looks like Ken Duffy will be our fast loser, entitling him to come back for more competition as once again we take a look at the Battle of the Fords. Oh, good jump. Good hole shot right there by Snakebite.
You got a good race. There's two well evenly matched trucks. The lane's the big difference.
Right there is the margin of victory as we go down trackside to visit with our victor, Colt Cobra.
I'll tell you what, Colt, I'm going to make it short and sweet. You're putting these other guys in their place tonight.
Yeah, Army, I'm trying. Like I said, we had a lot of problems earlier. I think we got them dialed in. Truck's working real good. Ford's making the horsepower, Firestone's putting it to the ground. I'm taking it to the line, and I'm putting them on the trailer. Snake is definitely back.
Few trucks over, there's some work going on Ken Deppy's Dodge Express, who is indeed the fast loser from round two. Army, what can you tell us about that situation?
Gary, one of the interesting things about the pairings was the two Fords and the two Dodges going against each other in the semifinal. The big question was who would be the quick loser out of that round. Well, that question has been settled. The Dodge Express of Ken Deppy, he's going into the next round, but as you can see over my shoulder, he and the crew are thrashing. They're trying to figure something out. They got a problem in the left front suspension of the truck. We're going to let them go about their work. We'll keep an eye on things and throw it back up to you, Gary.
The semifinals are coming up with two Fords and two Dodges. Stay with us. More coming your way on Trucks and Tractor Power. Welcome back to the Ozark Empire Fairgrounds here in Springfield, Missouri for the PENDA Monster Truck Thunder Drags. This event is put on by the same group that brings you the four-wheel and off-road jamborees. And Army, as you know, those jamborees feature a host of great participant and spectator activities, as well as the great racing you see right here on Trucks and Tractor Power. And speaking of great racing, it's time for the semifinals with two Fords and two Dodges. First, it's Barefoot, the Dodge, against Snakebite, the Ford.
Well, this is what the people buy the tickets to see. These guys are starting to develop followings. People are starting to pull for them, whether you like one or the other, your manufacturer, personalities, or what have you. But when it comes down to this point in time, it's just a four-way shootout, Gary.
But we have seen throughout the weeks the coming of the Dodge, the coming of Fred Schaefer and his operation, more competitive every week. And now Ken Deppy and the Dodge Express as well.
Chrysler Corporation is coming out and going after Ford. They realize that this monster truck, the identity here, basically in a nutshell, you win with the monster truck, you're going to sell the new Dodge Dakotas. That's what the
That
name
has
of the
been the
game
philosophy of motorsports for the last about 10 decades or so. Since the car first came out, they started racing like at Indianapolis in 1911. There's a shot from inside the cab of Fred Schaefer. Oh, Schaefer does the wheelie, and that cost him the win.
Boy, the kid out of Colorado takes the big Ford into the next round, Gary.
Colt Cobra took advantage of that big wheelie that Fred pulled in no man's land.
Well, that sets up half the final. It's going to be a Ford. Who's going to go in the other lane?
Well, before we find that out, we'll take a look once again at this victory for Colt Cobra. But here in no man's land, watch Fred pull the front end.
Sure, he was trying to go after him, but once again, Gary, so far tonight, every race has been won out of that lane.
So it's imperative to have the quickest run for lane selection.
Exactly. If I drew that other lane, I'd just take the tires off and go home, I think.
Ah, you wouldn't. If you're a racer, you're going to be competitive no matter what lane. You're going to give it your best shot. Right here, here's a happy winner.
Tell you what, you just put one of the big Dodge boys away.
Yeah, those Dodge boys, when they come here, they mean business, but this just goes to prove that when we're going out, we're giving 110% because they're giving 100%. We're coming out on top tonight.
You know, Gary, one of the things I was noticing, look here on his helmet. Not only says Simpson, this is the philosophy of the whole team, no fear.
Well, now it's going to be, again, Dodge versus Ford. There's Ken Deppy, the Dodge Express. They've hammered out that front suspension problem, and he is ready to meet up against Andy Brass in Wildfoot. The winner, of course, will meet Snakebite for the championship. And, of course, Andy has that quick lane, the far lane. Earlier, Army caught up with Brass, who had these comments prior to the semis.
Andy, it's almost weird how this pairing's coming down with Dodge and Ford.
It is, you know, it's been real high racing tonight, you know, and the Dodge has been running real well. The Ford's been running real well. You know, we've been doing a good job with it. Thanks to guys like MSD, Ignitions, you know, BDS blowers and stuff like that. We're producing some good horsepower out here tonight. The track's starting to bite good. You know, the Firestones are doing us a good job out here. And all we can do is go on into the next round. I think we got lane choice. We pulled a fast time that round. So we're going to try to play a little head game, show them in the other lane, work with them on the light a little bit, and pull them down through the track.
The fans love the competition, and the competition gets tighter every week.
And Wildfoot's in the good lane. I'll be up front with you on this one.
Yeah, if you're going to bet a shilling, bet on Wildfoot in the far lane.
That's saying nothing against the Dodge. That's just laying it on the table. Oh!
Over the crush cam. Good run for Ken Deppy, but once again, it was that far lane.
We got an all-Ford final, Gary Lee. The question is, who is the quickest? Who gets the good lane?
Well, that's the question. I had the answer. Andy turns a 5:26, bettering his overall quick ET. That means he will have lane choice, and guess which lane he is going to take. Army?
This Ken Deppy can rock and roll with the best of them, can he, Andy?
Yeah, he can. You know, we've been watching Ken there earlier. He's been turning in some good times with the truck. You know, that's one of Fred's old trucks. The truck proved itself last year, you know, so all he had to do was get him a good driver. I think Ken is doing a good job at driving. We've been watching the track, watching his times. We knew we had to go out there and run hard. We pulled it through with the Ford.
It's going to be an all-Ford final from Springfield. Snakebite and Wildfoot coming up next. Welcome back to the Ozark Empire Fairgrounds in Springfield, Missouri for the PENDA Monster Truck Thunder Drags, and it all comes down to this: one last pass for the championship.
Yeah, and it'll go down in history, Gary, as the night that Lanes won and lost a monster truck race. Because so far, every win has come out of the same lane, Gary Lee.
That's the first time, I think, ever in monster truck competition that's happened. And during the break, Army, you spoke with both the drivers going into the finals.
Cole Culver built this truck to prove that he could be the best Ford monster truck in the country. Well, time to lay the cards on the table, Colt.
Yeah, definitely the cards are on the table. We made it this far going into the final round there with Wildfoot, another good running Ford. Definitely a hard card. Like I said earlier, 110% is what it's going to take to win here today, and this truck right here is definitely 110% snake all the way.
Gary, I'm standing down the pit area with Andy Brass, and Andy, very bluntly, this guy says he can handle you tonight.
Well, like I said, we've been watching the snake truck there all night tonight. He's been turning out some good times. We've been turning out good times with this one. You know, the truck's running good for us. You know, it is a 2 Ford final, so that's all I'm really looking at. I'm glad to see that, you know, but I think we're going to concentrate on it. We're going to pull a lane choice on him, put him over in a bad lane right now. He's been running the left lane all night. We're going to put him in the right lane, play a little head games with him, and going to pull him down through there.
The strategy is well rehearsed.
No, the strategy's the same. He says the same thing over because he does the same thing over, and he keeps winning, so I wouldn't change anything myself, Andy.
And, of course, he's the quick one, so he has lane choice. Far lane, Andy Brass.
Hey, we do have a race, though. Check this out.
And it is. Yeah, it is Andy, though, but, boy, he had all he could handle.
He could hear that snake hissing. Yeah, he could hear the old snake hissing on him.
Andy Brass by what? A fender.
A fang, buddy. A fang and no more.
He defanged the snake bite on that one. So here in Springfield, you can hear the fans cheering. They're very happy for Wildfoot and Andy Brass. We take one more look. It was a side-by-side shootout that went the distance.
Well, Cole Culver come out of there with him, Gary.
Take another look, and once again, about a fender was the difference in the far lane as we go down to victory lane and Andy Brass.
Andy, congratulations, but answer a question to me. How do you guys get these big 10,000-pound trucks to move so quick off that starting line? You were doing a wheelie.
Well, that's thanks to guys like BDS, MSD Ignition, Firestone tires. You know, we're building some horsepower with the motor here. You know, we're running a Ford Hemi here, which a lot of people there's really having a lot of doubts about it, but the motor's been doing us a real good job. You know, and thanks to the guys, we're building horsepower with the motor, and thanks to guys like Firestone tires there, you know, we're putting all the horsepower to the ground, pulling off the line real well. You know, we going down between the cars. The track's been getting a little tacky tonight, so we've been pulling some good traction down through there, and we're just cutting some real nice times tonight.
We've talked a lot, Army, about the roll and throw, but the best place to do that tonight was in the far lane. Every victor came from the far lane, a first time ever in monster truck competition. They're coming right at you now as we take a look once again from the crush cam. And that was indeed the best run from the near lane, but not fast enough to beat that man right there. Our congratulations once again to Andy Brass, who wins in the Show Me State, in fact, his home state. For Army Armstrong, I'm Gary Lee. We'll see you next week on Trucks and Tractor Power. Now here's news of an exciting video release from Diamond P Sports.
Want to walk away with a free Diamond P hat? Well, now you can do just that when you buy And They Walked Away 3. Diamond P's latest helmet-hammering, bone-jarring thrill ride featuring motorsport's most perilous moments. By calling 1-800-257-9191, you get the free Diamond P hat and 70 minutes of heart-stopping action. Stock cars tangle and tumble on the oval high banks. Drag racers experience terrifying infernos. Sprint cars dance too close and pay the consequences. Mud racers, monster trucks, and motorcycles explode in awesome displays of man and metal turn to mayhem. And in each breathtaking incident, the driver beats the odds. To get your copy of And They Walked Away 3 plus a free Diamond P hat, call 1-800-257-9191 for credit card orders, or send check or money order for $24.95 plus $4 shipping and handling to the address on your screen. That's 1-800-257-9191.